I'm Philip Hackett, and you're watching Anything Cricket. Let's talk. Make yourself comfortable, guys. Today we've got an extended show for you. Wayne Hall will be along a bit later when we chat with Philo Wallace. But we're going to start with the Director of Cricket at Cricket West Indies, Jimmy Adams, the former West Indies captain. And he's going to outline the policy on fitness, which has been utilized in West Indies cricket for a little while now. And he will address certain specific areas as well, because there has been some discussion about form over fitness, or should it be fitness over form? And then, of course, you have the issue of exemptions for various players and the differences between the expectations at regional level and the international level. Jimmy Adams will discuss this and more as we look at West Indies cricket and the policy on fitness. When we come back, Director of Cricket, Jimmy Adams.
IGS Insurance Brokers. We specialize in commercial, auto insurance, life, individual and group health, as well as pension packages.
At IGS Insurance Brokers, honesty and integrity are paramount. We are your general insurance brokers for life.
We deliver packages tailored specifically for you. Call us at 242-7642. IGS Insurance Brokers. You can stay safe with us.
The policy asks for a minimum standard in certain aspects of the fitness testing. So on the yo-yo intermittent test, that minimum standard is 40. And for a couple of years now, we have had a policy that speaks to selection being tied to the achieving of that minimum standard. And it's pretty simple, and it's something that all the players are aware of it, that failure to get to 40 makes them unavailable for selection. So when the panel sits, the first thing that they will consider before looking at the teams and the squads that they want to put together is who are the players who are available through achieving that minimum standard. So as is best practice around the world, there are going to be times when players, for different reasons, might be unable or incapable of achieving minimum standards across either the whole battery of tests or certain aspects of it. And there are exemptions that are given to these players. And the four main areas that are considered for these exemptions would be the player's age, individual physiological limitations, their injury history, and also their training history. And this is standard across many high performance environments, and we are no different. This is also something that has been in place certainly from before I came, because I was introduced to this document when I came here, and we have simply been applying it as the years have gone by. There are, as you know, quite a few players at the moment who have been exempted under one of these four headings. And it is something that I think maintains a robustness about the situation, so that if, for example, I were to use a situation, if I go back and look at an Indian spinner in the 70s who had a withered arm, if he were to do an upper body strength test, he would not be able to complete that test. And therefore, in that area, he would have to have an exemption. And if that test were tied to selection, then you could see how an exemption there would work in that situation. So it is making sure that we don't discriminate against players who may have issues, injuries, long-standing chronic things that prevent them from completing some of these tests. This is something that is is out there. It's not a secret. It has been communicated to the players. And every time they sign a contract, their contract speaks to them agreeing to this, and it is sent as part of the contract. Give you some, basically some facts as regards to the different levels. So in the West Indies team, the minimum standard for selection ties into 40 on the yo-yo test. At the franchise level, franchise players who don't meet that level are fined. So there is a correlation, right? But I want to stress that for the international players, that is a minimum standard for selection. Where we are moving these players is to get that everybody past 50, okay? And I don't make I'm not apologizing for that in a sense. In most systems across the world, there tends to be a higher standard for the international players across different sports than you would find for club players or first-class players. But there is an acceptance within Cricket West Indies that 40 mark at this point in time, and I'm not saying that it will stay at 40, but at the moment it is 40, is where we expect as a bare minimum our international players are before being available for selection. What it is guaranteeing us and where it is consistent across the board is that everyone is at the same level or potentially to be available for selection. So anyone, whether you are a franchise or international, who dips below that is going to be unavailable for selection. Now, if you go pre-COVID, and we will pick this up now, COVID sort of interrupted the usual sequence for international players, is that while 40 is a minimum for selection, every player will have individual targets that are over 40. The fact that they're playing means that they're 40 or above. But I give, as an example, if I run 44 on my last fitness test and that was my target, my next target is going to be maybe 5 to 7 levels above 44. So they are operating on a slightly higher scale, but what we don't want, and with the consistency we want, is that every player in the Caribbean knows that if they are aiming for international cricket, then this is the minimum, and I'm stressing the word, this is the minimum target that will make you available. There is nothing to stop individual franchises from moving that. That is not, I mean, we would encourage that. But what we don't want is to have a setup where you have a team with players who are, in my view, fit, and they are trying to win games with players who come in who can't stand up physically to the demands of international cricket. At a minimum, they'll be tested twice a year, minimum. Okay, now those two tests will carry consequences, but there are tests that are done that can be done at any time. For if the coach wants to get a feel for where his squad or even where an individual is, they might put him through that battery of tests. Players might be coming back from injury, and the medical panel might decide that, okay, he's now recovered and it is time now to see where his levels are. Let us run through the battery of tests. That gets recorded, and it is from that testing that you can actually start to put an individual program around that player. If we did not have these testings, then we wouldn't know, because all the programs that they have are individualized. And following on from that, whenever players leave tours, they are going home with both technical and physical programs that we manage through the various practitioners in the different regions. So there is ongoing, for the contracted international players, it's a 12-month process that we manage, but sometimes we have to manage it long arms through the local physio, the local strength and conditioning, or when it comes to technical, we manage it through the local coaches. I am coming back from injury. I haven't done, and I won't be able to necessarily do either the entire battery or some of the battery of the fitness test, but I am cleared to return to play. What the medical panel will do is give that player a certain amount of time, which will be communicated to that player, within which he will be expected to get up to the minimum standard. As regards to the question of the leeway, I think the easiest thing to say is that while we will always want players to perform, score runs and take wickets, but our fitness policy and where we're trying to take our team to be able to match up to the best in the world is that if you're not at the minimum standard, and I'm going to emphasize that this is not something that we want to be a conversation we like having with players, because to me, the minimum standard is something that shouldn't apply to an international player. But we draw the line on 40 because we feel that there are other considerations outside of just a person's ability to bat, bowl, or field. There is the fact that we are moving our cricket in a certain direction, that everybody has bought into it, and we need everybody to be at a certain minimum level, we feel, to be able to perform at the levels required at international standards. And you leave yourself open to run into problems if you start talking about making it provisional on whether somebody has made a score or taken wickets, because you could find very quickly that you have a two-tier system, and then it's very difficult to manage. And it doesn't take us as a team, as an entity, Cricket West Indies, in the direction that we want to go.
Thanks very much to Jimmy Adams, the Director of Cricket at Cricket West Indies. The selection of Chris Gayle to the West Indies T20 squad has caused much discussion. You're going to hear from the man himself as he traces his fitness history going back to the days of Otis Gibson. He's also going to talk about his commitment to West Indies cricket and the role that he will likely be playing in the series against Sri Lanka and even moving forward towards the World Cup. He'll also have a comment and maybe share a bit about the controversy surrounding the fitness issue related to Shimron Hetmar.
First, let me start off with Hetmar. It's very unfortunate he's out of the squad for fitness reason, but there's a protocol and things actually put in place, and it's beyond my control. But it's up to him if he really want to represent West Indies and really to help West Indies cricket. He's such a talent, and West Indies cricket need that sort of talent within the Caribbean. So it's just unfortunate, and hopefully things can work out, and these guys take it seriously, and because these guys are the future. A guy like Hetmar with his talent, he's the future, and we need him. We definitely need this talent. We don't want to lose such a talent within the region. So if I see Hetmar, I'll have a talk with him. I've actually speak to him before, and I'll do so again if I get the chance and whenever I see him. So we need him, and all I can do is wish him well, and just get his mindset sorted towards West Indies cricket and what he wants to actually achieve within West Indies cricket as well. I'm a fit man, okay? I've been doing running all my life, so don't feel like I'm not a runner, all right? Because even up until this age, I'm still doing a lot of physical training, so I still do my running. It's important. It keep your mind very sharp once you're a fit person. And it's just how you monitor your body as well. For me, it's going to be totally different for a younger player, and it's all well actually manage Chris Gayle with a younger player as well. But the younger players do have the time to actually execute their physical plans, and they know these things have actually been put in place, so it shouldn't be any problems when that time comes around. Back then, I used to do a lot of running. I'm sure even when we actually back in the days, even under coaches like Bennett King, when we win a test match, we have physical even after a test match. So those things have been a trend, coming up into West Indies cricket. Is not something new going on now. These things have been happening over the years. I have been a part of it, so I know what actually the structure they actually put in place to re-emphasize on people fitness. It's important just to keep the guys sharp. So it's something you don't want to actually dwell on and say, hey, we're gonna have a big stick over you or anything like that. It's all about communication and working with each other, and everybody can get the result at the end of the day. It's the desire I have, and still performing as well. Don't get me wrong, sometimes like back then, I thought about actually, walk away from the game. And then people like said, no, don't do it, don't do it. Stay and play as long as possible. So I decided to say I'm going to actually, continue playing the game of cricket. And, I wasn't really actually thinking down this road, to be honest. I was like, I'm going to play like franchise cricket and exploit my talent more, entertain the people as much as possible. And, whatever is left to offer, within the game from Chris Gayle, and I want to exploit it around the world. And, like I said, when I get the call and they ask if I'm willing and I'm interested, I say yes. And, once I play for West Indies, that's where my heart is. And I'm never going to turn down anything, pertaining to West Indies cricket at this particular time as well. So that's when I get the call, and then I decided to say, hey, I'm full on. And I was actually in a tournament, and they say, Chris, this is the structure they put in place. So we need you to be a part of it, and we need you to fit in, what actually, set for the particular team, which I basically agreed to. So, I came back, from Pakistan to actually be a part of the setup leading into the World Cup, so you can have a unity within the group, and then hopefully, we can actually lift this T20 trophy. Well, it seems like I'm the number 3 specialist now. It was a role, the coach, Anil Kumble in the IPL asked me to play it. Yeah, and he did mention it before the IPL actually started, which I say I have no problem, and then, eventually I didn't start the IPL. And when I actually get the chance, they want my experience at number 3 because Mayank and KL Rahul was going, great guns at the time. So I was really happy to bat at number 3, and it's not a problem. I'm good at playing spin. I'm good at playing fast ball as well, as I know I'm a opener. But with West Indies cricket, whatever they want, whatever role they want me to play, I'm willing to play that particular role. So I'll be open, in that regards when it comes down to the captain and the coach, what role they want me to play within the team as well, because there's a lot of T20 games, before the World Cup. It's a lot of talent within the team as well. So maybe they want to look at some players in some sort of regards as well, because, it's all about managing, myself as well. So whatever role they want me to play, I'm pretty much open to it. We haven't fully discussed it, but I'll get a bit of heads up on, how to look forward to this particular series, but are the way down, leading into the World Cup. So we just, like I said, I'm pretty much open. If it's open, I'm ready. Number 3, number 5. I'm pretty much flexible, I'll still be the best number 5 in the world, best number 3 in the world. We want to win the series, I know being back, it might be a little bit of attention, but it's, I don't want it to actually go in that regards, to be honest with you. We're looking at things as a team point of view. We have a strong captain, Pollard is a very strong captain. We have a lot of very, very good quality players within the team, senior players, and I don't really want to use player youngsters as well, because these guys have played cricket so many years now, and it's just that actually we need performance at the top of the level. But I just want to win the series, just want to get off to a good start. It's really good to be back, and like I said, hopefully I can perform and help the team and put the team in a winning position. Yeah, at 41, I think that's actually what get me through on a daily basis is more mental than physical to me. Is the willpower of the mind. The mind still want to actually, be there. The mind want to be out there in on the park. Still execute, from a batting point of view. Still have fun, and I'm still in that capacity, from a mindset, and that's what actually gives me that extra drive to continue playing. As soon, if not, well, not as soon, but if the mind stop operating like that for me, then I'd have to ask myself a big question there. So, but for now, it's just the mindset. The mindset is still good. I'm still looking after myself, and I still do my training. Most people say, "Are you on a diet?" I still eat properly. I still eat what I want. I still have my fun. I make sure I have a clear mind at all times. Once I have a clear mind, you can actually be free to do whatever you want.
Thanks very much to Chris Gayle. Here is wishing Gayle and the West Indies team all the best in the series against Sri Lanka.
What's Wrong with Martin is brought to you by Amiga Pest Control. Don't let annoying pests bug you. Lick them for 6. Omega Pest Control is the perfect solution. We are experts in termite and pest eradication, specialized mosquito treatments, foundation, residential, commercial, and industrial treatments. Call us day or night or visit us at our office located at Fieldside Drive, Long Gap, St. Michael. Omega Pest Control. Call 425-5954, 231-6526, or email us at opcl@caribsurf.com.
Well, we haven't heard from him in a while, but he's back. And I'm talking about Martin Paris. Yes, he's back. But you guessed it, something's wrong.
And in essence, it's not that I've gone anywhere. It's just that I suppose it's COVID-19 protocols that spurred me into coming from behind the camera and sharing my thoughts with everybody else. But I mean, a couple of things have me baffled. And let's start with the recent selections of West Indies squads. You can go to the West Indies website and you'll see some quotations that they will be using these matches, and I'll quote, to prepare to defend the ICC T20 World Cup title scheduled for later this year in India. So based on what? We weren't playing any T20, and yet the squad is not filled with players who were playing either T10 or T20 in Australia or the other places that managed to squeeze in some 2020 cricket. Then comes the argument, Fidel Edwards is too old, why you gone back for him? And Chris Gayle, but Mr. Gayle is closer to retirement than anything else. And then this question of fitness. Apparently, regional Super 50 fitness for the likes of Messrs. Cottrell and Chase and Hetmeyer and O'Shane Thomas. They were fit enough to play for their franchises in the regional Super 50, but did not meet the minimum fitness requirement for selection to white ball cricket. Now, this is very interesting because what is fitness if Lendl Simmons, who hobbled during one of his earlier innings in the tournament, and in the finals also hobbled after taking a sharp single, but he is fit and named. They've named 14 people for the T20 squad, but they haven't named 14 people for the ODI squad. Mind you, we have been reasonably informed that Messrs. Chase and Hetmeyer have been retained in Antigua in that biosecure bubble to undergo fitness conditioning. And as a matter of fact, well, somebody can tell me that I'm wrong. I understand that Mr. Hetmeyer missed the mark very closely, did over the test, but by the time he did it, the squad was already selected. I'm not claiming that these are facts, but if they're wrong, please kindly shed some light on it. And the strange thing about that is, it's a good thing he was unfit. 100 glorious runs when he was in the state of not at the minimum fitness level. And I maintain, if we've got this time between the end of the Super 50 and the actual T20 series, and he's that close to being fit, such a mercurial player, and I use mercury because he can rise just as fast and fall just as fast, like the temperature on a thermometer. Should he not be allowed then, while the tournament is going on, to actually get himself in order? It's strange. There's obviously something that we, the viewing public, fans, analysts, former umpires, whatever moniker we choose to wear, are not fully appraised of when it comes to the inclusion and exclusion of players. These are the things that are wrong with Martin.
Well, thanks very much to Martin Paris. When we come back, we're going to hear from Philo Wallace, the former West Indies batsman. Well, we don't get to chat with him very often, me and Holder, but Philo Wallace, an ideal person to talk cricket with. Of course, the former Barbados captain, the former West Indies opener. And as you yourself would have said in the past, when in describing some of our guests, we've got a big one today. And that's nothing to do with the size. Welcome, Philo Wallace.
Thank you very much, Philip. It's nice to be back on your program, and hello to Wayne. Continue to look young.
Well, I know you've got
Kavanaugh.
two challenges, at least two challenges you have over there. Which part of England are you again?
I'm in Wimbledon.
So I know that you are battling the cold, but the real enemy now worldwide is COVID, isn't it?
Yes, obviously, Philip, COVID is a big challenge here in the UK. We've been in lockdown since the 28th of December, and they're going to look to reopen around I think the 4th of March, but slowly opening. Schools will be opening as well. Getting those kids back in school is going to be very important. And the numbers, believe it or not, have started to drop. Plus, the vaccinations has been going very well. I myself have taken the vaccine, and I'm healthy. I'm feeling good about it. I have another 6 weeks to go before I get the second vaccine. But yes, COVID obviously is still a serious threat here in the UK.
And amidst all of it, the cricket was on. And I know that you've been following what's been happening here in the region in terms of the Super 50. And now we've actually gone past that. Congratulations to Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. And now we're looking towards entertaining the Sri Lankans and the announcement of two white ball teams, the one international side, the T20 side, and even more recently, the best of the best in preparation for the test match. But before we get to that, let's start with the more immediate situation of the T20 competition and the white ball competitions. What are your thoughts on the teams that we recently announced?
Well, first of all, Philip, let me offer congratulations to Kieran Pollard and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. David Furlong, who's the coach, for winning the CG Super 50 competition in the Caribbean. They went unbeaten, and they showed their class, and they obviously they won that competition hands down. They were head and heels above all the rest. Obviously, when you look at West Indies now, the selectors have sat down and they decided to pick a T20 squad. They've brought back Christopher Gayle. There's a return also for Fidel Edwards, who announced a couple months ago that he's back and he's fit and he's ready to represent West Indies, and he's been given that opportunity. And also, when there's some exclusions, Russell and Orang are not there. But when you look at our T20 squad, we are looking to obviously prepare for that World Cup. The selectors are saying that they are looking to see what they have in relation to building for that World Cup later this year in India. And I think the squad is one that it's surprising to me, but obviously that is what the selectors decide that they want. And I hope that the guys can go there and really represent West Indies. We haven't been doing well in our T20 cricket. We went to New Zealand and we were trashed by New Zealand. I thought we would have done better in New Zealand. And obviously we are at home now. And these games we're playing at Coolidge. And we know what Coolidge is. It's not a big ground. A lot of cricket has been played over the last couple of weeks. So we are hoping that these guys can really hit the straps and go out there and perform wonderfully well for West Indies.
Before we bring him in, though, you said you were surprised by some aspects of the selections. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, when you look at it, Philip, obviously Chris Gayle, I said a couple months ago, even a year ago, that I thought that Gayle would have said, look, I'm finished with this cricket. But he's been to various T20 gigs around the world and he's performed. Mind you, he's been batting 3, he's been opening, and the franchises seem to obviously have gotten the best out of Chris Gayle in those various positions. I don't know what position he's going to be batting in when he comes to, if he does suit up and gets into that final 11. I hope he does. When the first T20 balls off in Antigua, where he'll be used in the position, because we have quite a number of openers. We also have Andre Fletcher, who had some success in the Big Bash. There's Evan Lewis, who obviously is coming off a good Super 50 form. So Gayle, obviously, they'll be looking to get the best out of Gayle. And I said, well, Fidel, again, at 39 years old, has been out of West Indies cricket for about 10 years. He was in England here playing for Hampshire. He's done wonderfully well for Hampshire. And he's obviously, there's a resurgence. There's this new life, new breath of energy within Fidel Edwards. and we saw him in the Caribbean Premier League. He also went down to Abu Dhabi and he played in some T10 cricket down there and on board pretty quickly at 39. So obviously, those two selections would have surprised me. But the guys are there. They're in the West Indies squad. We're hoping that they get the chance to be in the 11, and they will run in and bowl and bat and play the T20 cricket that we expect them to play. I know in the franchises we see a lot of brilliance from some of them, and I hope for West Indies cricket we see some of those brilliant performances as well.
Is it possible, anywhere remotely possible, that Chris Gayle is actually on trial? You have brought Chris Gayle back. You're looking towards the T20 World Cup in October, I think that comes off in Australia, and we've noticed that the door has been thrown wide open, whereby it seems to me like everybody who is available is eligible for selection, and this may be an opportunity for Gayle to finally once and all prove whether he's up to the international level to perform on a consistent basis at the international level. And I dare say, you may comment after, that if he fails here, this may very well be, well, okay, Chris Gayle, you had your chance. Thank you.
I don't see it as a trial for Christopher Henry Gayle. I just think that he wants to play for West Indies. And I hope that Gayle will bring some energy to our cricket and bring some fun as well. We saw the fun in Bangladesh and we won that series, that test series. In the one-day series, we didn't see the fun in Bangladesh and we lost. I think that we need to see some fun in this T20 series against Sri Lanka. And this guy's like Gayle with the experience, a former West Indies captain as well. He's the most sought after player in T20 cricket. If I speak to subject correct, he has the most runs in T20 cricket. I don't even want to talk about sixes, but he brings something. He will bring something to West Indies T20 squad, and I hope that it's good things, and that he can obviously transform our T20 habits. When you look at it, we had a young man called Brandon King, who's been given opportunities, and he did not grab them. So the selectors should have said, "Look, we've tried Brandon King. I know Christopher Gayle is scoring runs. We saw him running ones and twos and stuff in Dubai when he played in the IPL. So he obviously he's worked on that part of his fitness going into his latter stages of his career. So let's hope that he can go out there in Antigua and show us what Chris Gayle can really do. And I think that he's a kind of player that this reputation, man. He plays cricket on his reputation. He's dubbed the universe boss or the universal.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed. Yes, self-proclaimed universal boss, which is a big title. And I know that Chris will want to go there and show the world that he can still do it at the international level. Mind you, the intensity is going to be different. This is not going to be like franchise T20. This is international T20 cricket. We have the best players from Sri Lanka in the respective T20 area playing. So he will obviously have to up his intensity, as well as Fidel. I don't think the Sri Lankans are going to just lay down and say, well, Fidel is running a ball on 140 kilometers an hour and just give the wickets away. This is international cricket, and it's welcome back to both of them. And I hope that they can come back with a bang.
Philo, even when Gayle was, you could almost say in his heyday, there were those who felt that his mobility was not as great as they had wanted to see. He's had one or two injuries, yes, and he's always been accused, I would suggest, of not rotating the strike and running singles and so on. And therefore, it's a concern to some that at his advanced age now he's back. And I want you to maybe comment on that, along with what I'm going to read here. And this would have been noted when the teams were announced they won the international side and the T20 side. And we're told fast bowlers Sheldon Cottrell and O'Shane Thomas, along with batsmen Shimron Hetmyer and all-rounder Russell Chase, all failed to reach the minimum fitness standard in time for selection consideration. They will all remain in Antigua after the CGI Insurance of the 50 Cup to work on their fitness and conditioning. Discuss.
Well, fitness test, a massive a conundrum for Cricket West Indies. Over the years, our players have had a lot of issues, and the selectors had issues selecting players in relation to fitness. Now, I read in one of a newspaper article that the director of cricket, Jimmy Adams, and I pay special attention to Jimmy Adams because he's the director of cricket. He's saying that fitness comes before form. So if you're not fit, you cannot play for cricket. You cannot represent Cricket West Indies. And I'm saddened that the guys that you call are unfit, because when you're of that caliber and of that ilk that these fellas are in relation to cricket, they should be fit all the time, barring injury. I don't see why a young man like Shembron Hetmeyer, Roston Chase, who barely weighs over 140 pounds, could be unfit. And if they're really seriously thinking about their careers and their jobs, they will look to get fit and stay fit. Cottrell and O'Shea Thomas, when I looked at them during the Super 50 competition, you can tell when a guy is unfit, Philip. The first thing that you see when a man is unfit is his stomach. Once the stomach starts to protrude, you know he's unfit. Then you come to his face, two cheeks get fat. When you see those kind of things, you know they're unfit. And we saw O'Shea Thomas blowing when he bowled a few overs. It was hot in Antigua. And these things baffle me, because this is a guy who was just involved in a tour in New Zealand. This is a guy who was just involved in IPL. And now you're playing for your country and your franchise, and you're struggling with fitness, and you fail a fitness test, and you cannot represent West Indies. I think it's very sad. It's a detriment on them. Chris Gayle, on the other hand, I was also hearing the director of cricket saying that the fitness test is subject to certain exemptions. So I believe some of those exemptions will be for Christopher Gayle. Some will be for Fidel Edwards. We also have a guy called Rakeem Cornwall, and we know how he is already, but I think he's a cricketer. And there'll be certain exemptions. I think that these guys might have their own fitness level to attain, rather than judge them against someone, let's say like a Jason Holder. I think that they gauge in relation to their age and on their ability to do X, Y, Z. So if those are if that is the way the West Indies Cricket Board is, Cricket West Indies are going, but then we have to respect what they're doing in relation to this fitness test and being fit or unfit.
There was a time when you would be told that a player may be struggling a bit and he will do a fitness test before a game. I'm wondering if this whole idea of fitness is a matter of lumping everybody together, or if these guys, if in reality it is that these guys are just not training hard enough. It's difficult, like you, I find it difficult to imagine how, a player who would normally be very fit all of a sudden is struggling. So to my mind, it's baffling.
Yeah, but the fitness obviously is individual, and there's scientific proof to show the medical panel within Cricket West Indies will know what they're looking for in relation to gauging how a player is fit and what is required for a player to be fit. Now, when you hear Roston Chase is unfit, it opens your eyes and it raises your pores, because to me, Roston Chase looks fit. But obviously, he's not fit to the level that Cricket West Indies is expecting of him. Chevron Hetmeyer as well. So fitness, I believe that these guys have their own individual fitness schedules and routines, and they have their benchmarks in which they have to meet. And if they have not meet the benchmarks, well, then they'll not be selected. And what hurts me with Chevron Hetmeyer, Philip, is that this is the second time that he has missed selection because he's not fit. And a guy like him, who we dub as the next generation of West Indies cricketers, he should be a leader in our fitness regime for West Indies cricket. And another point I want to make is that we're in a COVID-19 pandemic year, or I could say time, and these West Indies cricketers are still going off to play cricket. Mind you, they're in bubbles, but they're traveling with all this COVID around, and they're still coming back, and they're not testing positive for COVID. So obviously, fitness has to be a part of it, and diet. And I believe that the West Indies cricketers should be leading the charge within the region to help the people in the region to fight this pandemic through a healthy lifestyle, because they're doing it. People are not working, and West Indies cricketers are working and being paid. They're traveling where other people cannot travel. And I'm talking about executives cannot travel, but these cricketers are traveling. So they have to be the ones to say, look, this is what you have to do in order to survive this pandemic. And I believe health is part of it.
But
it hurts.
Yeah, but just recently in the pre-game interview for the series, Coach Simmons would have pointed out that Chase has now passed the test and is fit for selection for Test cricket. So whatever the issue was in terms of failure to meet that fitness standard, it is something that has been overcome in short order.
Yes, but you don't know what merit him to be unfit. Because if he's being past fit now, a couple of days after, I don't know, maybe a week or so, I don't know when he did the fitness test. when he was unfit. But it's just baffling. I don't know how they
But
do
he
it.
played all the matches for Barbados in the Super 50. That we did.
Yeah, he was woefully short of his credentials as a batting all rounder. I was really disappointed in Roston Chase in the Super 50 competition, I hope that he really understands what he has to do as a professional cricketer, and professional with a capital P. Because these guys, I don't ever want to go into their salaries because I sit in a task force, so I have some idea what they get.
Okay.
But when you are on a retainer contract and you're being paid monthly, there's certain things that they expect you to do. And that is, one, you have to stay fit. Two, you have to answer the call. And three, you always have to be ready.
Before Wayne finds me out of my crease and stamps me though, I really want to get your feedback on this. Because you've got a situation where Hetmar has been deemed unfit at a time when he was one of the leading scorers in the regional Super 50. And apparently, too, has been awarded the fielding award. Because of COVID, you don't have people in the stands. But how easy would it be for spectators who go to a game to enjoy the spectacle as well as to support the team, be able to accept that when you consider that if you, I don't want to call a name for free, maybe taken out of context, but would you be satisfied to go to a game, a basketball game, and there's no LeBron James, for example, and someone is saying to you that he's not fit, but in a game a day or two before he scored 60 or 70 points? You get where I'm coming from. I'm looking at this now through the lens of the spectator.
Yeah, but LeBron James is a different kettle of fish to Shamron Hetmar. He is committed to basketball. He knows his purpose and his worth. Shamron Hetmar needs to understand his purpose and worth. And one thing I want to say too, Philip, is that our cricketers have to look at themselves first. Get themselves ready as men. And once you get yourself ready as that adult man, then you can push yourself into being whatever you want to be in cricket. But a lot of them still have a lot of boyish attitudes and behavior. And in the professional arena, you can't take no boyish attitude or behavior. It is a man's game. You have to do what is required of a man. And Shamron Hetmar, he's a man. He's earning his own living. And he needs to act, behave, and look like a man. And get rid of the little boy styles and attitudes. It is going to hurt him going forward. Professional cricket as it is now, there's no room for little boy behavior. So he has to get up, shake up, and start acting like how we want him to act. And that is a professional cricketer and being the batsman that can help West Indies cricket to move forward. Because if Hetmar becomes consistent, you got Shea Hope, who's coming back into cricket. He'll be consistent. Roston Chase might lift his game. You still got Jermaine Blackwood, you got Nkrumah Bonner, Kyle Mears. They can all, Shamar Brooks, they can all feed off of each other, Joshua De Silva. So Hetmar has a big role to play. And he needs to understand that. He's only 23 or 24 years old. So he has a long road ahead of him in relation to being a professional cricketer. And then you got this young guy now that just came into the one-day squad on T20, Kevin St. Clair as well. Oh, these are young men that have been looking up to Hetmar, you know, and he needs to understand that. So there's a big responsibility on his shoulders. A former West Indies under 19 captain, he's vice captain in the Guyana Jaguars. So they see him down the road as a leader. So he got to start shaping himself and his thinking and his behavior.
Don't forget he would have led the under 19s in that successful World Cup big couple of years back as well.
Yeah, so that's why he should start shaping himself to be the next leader, so we can start to identify him. Look, Hetmar can take this team on, you know, once he starts to score runs. And you know the traditions of West Indies cricket, both Philip and Wayne. If Hetmar starts to score runs, they're going to elevate him into leadership roles. It happened, all our great batsmen were elevated. So he just have to follow in the trend.
Well, Philo, you went in the direction, you mentioned the name Kevin St. Clair, and I wanted to switch to the topic of the team selected initially the T20 squad. And I know that despite your physical dislocation from the Caribbean, because of technology, you are very aware and in touch with a lot of goings on the ground here in the Caribbean. And I would want to ask you your feelings, though, about a young man like Kevin St. Clair breaking in to our West Indies setup at the T20 level, and your impressions of him And there's another young man that I have some time for. I would like to hear your views on, Obed McCoy.
Yeah, but I'm happy for young Kevin Sinclair. I thought that he did well in the emerging side on the reefer. I think he looks the part. He looks well organized. He knows what he's about. Yesterday he took some tap, but I saw him with his batting as well. He looks quite accomplished. And when you see a lot of batsmen with a back contract, he got to be able to bat. Because any and everybody now can't get back contracts.
Actually, he was what I was impressed about him, particularly in that final, is that he took some tap early, but he came back very, very well. And in that onslaught, when you look at the figures, he comes out fairly favorable.
Yeah, because he's tough. He's a tough cookie. And it's good to see a young man so brave. He never backed down. You know, and he always said, look, to me, he wanted to be there. He wanted to do well. And you know the Guyanese, Albion, the Guyanese player from the heart. They all play from the heart. And I'm proud to see that a young man have been rewarded for his consistency. And I hope that if he does get into the final 11, that he goes out there and show the international world that there's still talent in the Caribbean. There's no Narine who said he's not ready to play for West Indies. I don't know when he will be. I hope the selectors won't be waiting too long for when he's ready. But we have now a new talent coming on to the scene in St. Clair, and let's hope that he can go there and do the business. And McCoy has been around. McCoy has been around for a little while, and again, another opportunity for a young man. And these guys need to understand that despite not doing well, your franchise not doing well, but your personal performances within a bad franchise can also merit you selection. So he's been around for a little while, and he's now been given the opportunity. And I could just hope that they just grab the opportunity and don't let anybody come in by default, like what we saw in Bangladesh, that test series. Those guys went out there and grabbed the opportunity, and now some fellas in the Caribbean are sweating. So I like that, and I hope that these two young men could grab the opportunity and keep some people on the outside, because I think the selectors will have to be fair. If they perform, they have to be looking at taking them even further down into the year, maybe even once they're consistent in their performances, down to that World Cup in India, because we can need slow bowlers in India that can bat.
Would any of those people sweating the captain? I'm not talking white ball.
You talk Jason Holder? Yeah,
Yes.
I think Jason is sweating. I think that Jason, I am a big believer that Jason should not be retained as West Indies cricket test captain. I'm judging from what the coach has said, the league head coach, that he saw a difference in attitude. He saw a difference in leadership in Bangladesh. He saw a more cohesive unit. And we saw the results. The results are there to show proof is in the pudding. I rated it as a West Indies team. I never had it as a second string team, because once you represent the West Indies, you represent the West Indies. And Craig Brathwaite went down there, and he turned around the fortunes of West Indies cricket, test match cricket. And he won a series in Bangladesh 2-0. We saw love with Jason. And what I saw from the Super 50, I cannot see how Jason Holder can lead West Indies cricket when he could not even lead the Barbados franchise properly. So it's a serious thing. And I keep saying that Jason does not captain enough. He practiced captaincy in actual matches. Jason don't captain Wanderers. Jason hardly captains Barbados in 4-day cricket because he's always unavailable or taking rest. And then he finds himself wanting in relation to strategic movements and strategic calls. He doesn't do them because he's not aware of them. So he always seems to be lost. He's always be at 6s and 9s. And he seems to want to do it his way. And his way seems to me not be the best way.
But would the selectors have the courage, you think, to make?
Well, I hope they have the courage. They had the courage to announce Gayle and Fidel Edwards in the T20 squad. I think they should be courageous to recommend to West Indies Cricket Board, the three selectors, lead selector Harper, Miles Bascom, and coach Phil Simmons. They should have the courage to say, look, what has happened in Bangladesh, I think we need to continue with this upward spiral that we find ourselves in now. There's nothing against Jason, but I think that he captained for 5 years, he split for 9 years, and his record is not that brilliant. You know, people would say Craig captain before, but we see a difference in Craig Brathwaite's attitude to leadership.
There's some people on social media and elsewhere who would point out that Bangladesh is not really a strong team. How much can you really read into what happened?
So not a lot of people not a lot of test teams go to Bangladesh and win test series. That's the first test series Bangladesh have lost at home in a long time. So Bangladesh is a serious cricket team at home. Maybe on the road they struggle. And you have to remember this is the same Bangladesh that we played in a tri-series up in Ireland and lost every game, even in the World Cup, they beat us. So don't tell me that Bangladesh is not a good side. Bangladesh is a good side. And we went to Bangladesh and we beat Bangladesh with their full side, minus Amane Shakil Al Hassan, but it was their full side. Mamadullah was not there as well, but their full side, we beat them 2-0.
Yeah, I think some of us follow cricket emotionally, as I tend to say, and I guess based on I don't know what, but Bangladesh would be I suppose in basketball. What do you call it? When you have these new teams that come in, an expansion side when you expand in the league. So Bangladesh is a relatively new side in terms of in comparison to Australia, and India, and West Indies. But if you're following the cricket, to my mind, it is ludicrous to suggest that Bangladesh is anything other than a competitive cricket side. When you look at the statistics of the players, in fact, their batting, the numbers that their batsmen, their top batsmen are putting up right now are superior to ours.
Yeah, but they've been performing. When you look at Mustafa Rahim and those guys, they've been performing. And they're no slouches. Bangladesh, I don't think they're slouches at all. I think that we went to Bangladesh and we outplayed them. The thing about it is that in Bangladesh, the West Indies batsmen batted the ball. They didn't play it. They batted the slow bowling. We saw a brilliant double hundred from Kyle Mears, and it was no fluke. I think he has more runs to score and double hundreds as well for Cricket West Indies. I think he has that in him. He's a talent. And he showed skill and character. And then obviously Nkrumah Bonner showed that solid approach and calmness that we always wanted or we were looking for in the middle order. I thought that he batted out of position in the ODIs. And there's another thing as well too, is that the guys who scored runs in the test series in Bangladesh, they played in the ODIs. So there is some benefit in getting some of our test match cricketers to play ODI cricket, to give them that competitiveness and a little taste of the opposition before they get into the real business of the red ball. So it's something that the selectors can also look at, try to get some of our white or red ball cricketers, the test match cricketers, into that into that 50-over squad and see how it goes, if they can mesh the two and come up with some consistent scores.
Philo, you've been playing like we know Philo Wallace, the literal self playing some big shots on that end. But I want to continue from the T20 end.
Yeah.
And talk about the spin bowling. Now we know that throughout the T20 world, more or less, the wrist spinner has become a key component in most teams that they're being known as the impact players. And we noticed that, first of all, that this team does not possess a wrist spinner. And then again, we also seen that Hayden Walsh Jr., who would have been the incumbent from the last time we played T20, he has gone off the boil somewhat. How concerned are you about Hayden Walsh personally, and then about the stocks or wrist spinning stocks in the Caribbean?
Yeah, I'm saddened that Hayden Walsh Jr. has not really made any of the squads. Don't forget, he also picked up COVID-19 in Bangladesh. And he will be telling himself, look.
There's some question as to whether he picked it up in Bangladesh or not. But
he tested positive when he had his second test in Bangladesh. Because COVID is lurking. And he would have told himself, look, obviously I missed that series in Bangladesh because of illness, no fault of his. And he came back to the Caribbean Super 50 again, the Leeward Islands, sporadic in their performances, not a lot of consistency. Then you got indifferent kind of cricket that they played, and he ended up being, the scapegoat in the side. And you would have expected that he would have been the one who would have, the selectors could look at it and say, but if we worked with this man for give him a couple of runs, he could develop, because he has the ability. He shows the enthusiasm. He's a good fielder. We saw against Barbados, he smashed Jason Holder for a lot of runs.
Shamar
Holder. He holds and lashes. And
I think he was trying to spare you there by getting the name wrong.
Yeah, it's okay. But I don't Shamar Holder, there's a connection. But this guy Hayden Walsh Jr. brought something to West Indies cricket. And it saddens that the selectors obviously could not see it fit, how they can fit him into the T20 setup. I don't know how they went about with their selection, but obviously they did not. And he would obviously feel a little down, but he needs to pick the pieces up and look to come a lot stronger, because there's still a T20 World Cup later in the year. I think Australia will be coming and South Africa will be coming as well. So those are teams that you never know you can get in. And with that kind of competitiveness, you can bring out the best in him. But I thought that, I honestly believe that in the Caribbean as well, I've been discussing this with a good friend of mine called Dave Marshall, and the Barbados Cricket Association should be looking to do spin clinics and try to get the young spin bowlers in Barbados to be taught the art of spin bowling. We have our director of coaching, who is Andy Springer, a noted off spinner in his time. And we have Dave Marshall, there's Vincent Reed, who also works at Kensington. Try to bring those spinners, those former spinners, into a pool and try to bring their heads together and get them to discuss how best we could start finding some spin bowlers. Because we saw the other day in India, they opened the bowling with spinners. The Englishmen were frightened to play forward. That's another topic. but you know, I read something on social media with Ashwin, also the Nathan Lyons. He said when fast bowlers bowl out teams, nobody complains. But when the spinners spin them out, everybody wants the pitch to be changed and this and that. So there is a role for spinners. And we in the Caribbean, we need to understand that. Trinidad has Rajendra Danraj. I know he'll be down there doing some work as well. So we need to try and get spin bowlers some mileage, give them some mileage, give them some camps to go to, not only fast bowling camps, but get some spin bowling camps going on within the region and try to pull the best slow bowlers from out of that group and have them in Antigua, where they now want to set up the high performance, and take them through some paces and get them involved in West Indies 18s and stuff like that and the franchises. Because we need slow bowlers. We cannot rely all the time on fast bowlers.
You were talking about the rain not being ready. And you talked about, on the other hand, Chris Gayle coming back on the other side of 40, and Fidel Evans is almost 40. At the red ball situation, we've got some problems at the top, more so the opening position. Yes, number 3 was a problem in Bangladesh, but Shamar Brooks, the regular number 3, wasn't there. But in Bangladesh, you had the 2 openers who you've been working with for the last 2 years or so. Everybody seems to be coming back. You sure you finished with this game, Philip?
Yeah, I finished up cricket. Philip, I sit at I'm an armchair selector at the moment, and you know, I like West Indies cricket daily. I love Barbados cricket as well. But when you look at opening batsmen in the region, obviously we have Craig Brathwaite, who would always be Craig Brathwaite. I don't think he'll ever change his style. He has that crab-like kind of batting ability. His powers of concentration is one that is good. We saw a bit of it in Bangladesh. His leadership was good, his field placing. But his partner, John Campbell, continues to be a problem. Now, I am one to believe that John Campbell is lucky because he's been given many opportunities. And some people say, don't throw him away just yet. But I can't see a man scoring 35 and 46 and playing and keeping his play for a test series. Now, if he's in the best of the best, which is expected. And if John Campbell is given the green light in the series against Sri Lanka, that is 4 innings. Now, if John Campbell cannot crack 2 or 3 half centuries or even 100, should John Campbell be given another 2 innings against South Africa or 4 innings against South Africa when they come late in the year? How long are we going to persist with John Campbell to just be scoring 35 and 40 and getting out the same way all the time? These players need to understand that people are watching them. And technology is now playing a massive role in determining where bowlers will bowl. And batsmen need to improve every day. They need to come better. And John Campbell needs to come better, particularly in this 4-day game that is going to play in Antigua, the best of the best. And let's see, look, I have learned something. I'll watch a guy called Raymond Reef playing for a franchise called Guyana Jaguars. He scored 97 not out off 120-something balls, and everybody was saying, but he batting real slow. But he scored 97 not out in a losing cause, 2 90s coming back from Bangladesh, and he applied test match batting and was successful in a losing cause, and he scored 97 not out. Well played to him. Those are the kind of things we want to see. People like John Campbell and them now coming back from a tour, I'll be seeing them fighting out and scoring runs and look different to all the other fellas. And that is what separates the sheep from the goats in relation to first-class cricket. The test cricketers need to show their class when they're playing regional cricket. So the regional players will come up to their level, not the test match cricket is coming down to the regional level, and then you're telling me that regional cricket is poor. Our test match standards need to be higher. And I commend Raymond Reed for that wonderful innings of 97 not out. He batted the way you're supposed to play in a one-day game. Just wait, get the opportunity to score, run well between the wickets, and he has the ability to knock the ball over the top for 4 or 6. And that was a good innings. And these are the kind of things you want to see coming from someone like John Campbell, showing that maturity and learning. You know, we have a batting consultant from India. Let's see what he is doing. And you can only see it through a batsman scoring runs and performing consistently.
Well, Philo, this is my final delivery, right? And there's 6 runs to win. My final delivery. So it's all up to you. You know, I have in the past observed that you have expressed a desire to serve regional cricket, Barbados and regional cricket at the administrative level. And right now, I think I can dare say that we can use all the help that we can get at the administrative level, both here in Barbados and on the wider Caribbean scene. Any opportunity, any possibilities that the case may be soon, Philo Wallace will be back to throw his hand into the ring?
It's always good to have those comments. I get a call nearly every day from a very famous Antiguan, and he's telling me the same thing, you know, to return to the Caribbean and really put my heart and soul into cricket. I know I've sat on the BCA board before. I know the run-ins of the BCA, and it surprised me that the BCA has not really moved forward in the way in which I was expecting it to move forward with all the resources that it has. And, you know, there's a lot of talk, but there's no action. In England, I'm looking after a wonderful lady by the name of Antia. Her husband, David Brooks, has passed away last March. So this March coming will be a year, March the 11th. And I care for her. I stay here with her and look after her because there are no kids. I'm her son from a distance, from another mother and father, but got a heart. So I'm that. Also finishing up my LPC. And it's all about just making sure that this lady here is comfortable, as her husband asked me to do, make sure she's comfortable and don't suffer. So my return to Barbados will be short-lived because I still have to come back here and fulfill and do something for a dear friend. I cannot turn my back on this lady that I'm helping right now in my life. And I know that down the road, there's a man called God who will provide me with what I need to be provided with, even if I come back and run for the BCA presidency or whatever position, and then maybe look to West Indies. But my feelings and my aims for cricket will always be the same. I want to see Barbados cricket rise again. It hurts me that we played in six franchises and we came last. My dear friend Dexter Toppin, first time he's ever coached a team that came last, and it hurts. And it hurts me as well, because as a former Barbados cricketer and captain, you don't like to see your country struggling. And you know, another thing too about Barbados cricket is that we boasted of playing cricket in a pandemic. The only maybe franchise that was able to do it, the only cricket association in the region that maybe would have done that, play cricket, get the guys to play cricket in a pandemic. We had trials and stuff like that called the Legends Cup. And yet we went to Antigua and we underperformed. So something is wrong with Finor cricket. All the big talk and fancy talk that we are good, something is wrong. All good is a common G. We need to look more sternly and make serious decisions on who we have around our cricketers in order for all cricket to flourish. I was very disappointed with what happened in the Super 50, and I know Dex is a very good coach, and that is not what happened in that Super 50 is not a reflection of the coaching. It's a reflection of the entire squad. Something within that squad was not right, and the mixture was wrong. And I will come back when my time is right, and I'll make my contributions, because cricket has served me well, and I want to give back to cricket. I don't need anything from cricket. I just want to see Barbados cricket rise, and at the extension, West Indies cricket. And some serious decisions have been made. And we need honest people to make the right decisions.
Well, Philo Wallace, down the track, lift this one high out of the ground, 6 runs, match 1. Thank you so much, Philo Wallace. It has been a pleasure, and I look forward to having much more conversation with you, particularly on our Anything Cricket Let's Talk. I think you have so much to offer.
Thank you very much.
Well, if you guys are bowling and batting, then I'll have to be the umpire, and I'm going to signal 6. But you know what? That was the last shot, because you're out. It's been nice talking to you, Philo Wallace, as always. And
thank you very much for that.
We look forward to talking to you again on Anything Cricket Let's talk.
Thank you. All the very best. Stay safe.
Be good.
Cool.
That's our show. Thanks for watching. Join us again soon for another episode of Anything Cricket. Let's talk.